Hello again, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Tigers Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Schulte, and I want to thank you for joining me again. This episode recorded on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. We took a couple of weeks off. We went to Michigan, spent some time with the fam, was going to record a pod yesterday, but circumstances didn't allow it because of other things that were going on at the house. So we are here, and here we are, and that's just that's a groovy thing right now. So it is what it is. Let's start with the injury report. Reese Olson went on the injured list with a mild shoulder strain. We're not sure how long that's going to be, what the extent of that is. They sent him back to Detroit, but they really haven't had a chance to meet with team doctors and talk it out. They'll probably do that Thursday after their final game of the year in Cleveland. Of course, they've got two more against Cleveland next week, but a 4-game series is what they're in the middle of right now. This, of course, on the heels of moving Kenta Maeda to the bullpen. So right now, the Tigers have 3 healthy starters. They have Jack Flaherty, they have Tarek Skubal, and they have Kader Montero, who as a rookie has pitched really, really well, and I'll be interested to see how he does on Friday against Kansas City, a team that makes a lot of contact. I'll be interested to see how he does against them. He pitched pretty well he's got Minnesota on Friday, and he pitched pretty well against them the last time that he faced them. He will face Kansas City because his next turn in the rotation would be next Wednesday. Of course, next Wednesday is a day off for the Tigers, so it'll probably be next Thursday with Skubal pitching again next Friday, but we'll see. There's no timetable on all of this stuff. We don't know how it's going to go. Javi Baez is back off of the injured list. Parker Meadows is still rehabbing. Kerry Carpenter is hoping to be on a rehab assignment shortly. Parker Meadows, as last I checked, had not actually been sent on a rehab assignment, but he's not far off. Casey Mize is playing long toss at 150 feet. So there's your injury report for the players that are actually on the roster and contributing this year. Of course, Sawyer Gibson-Long had season-ending surgery at the beginning of April, so he's still dealing with that. It wasn't Tommy John. It was a procedure to prevent the possibility of Tommy John, but I'm guessing that once you have one of these situations, it ends up being Tommy John. It's just a matter of when. If I'm Detroit, I trade him as soon as I can so that they don't have to deal with another pitcher having Tommy John. But we'll see. So let's get into this. And ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Houston Astros. Now, why, pray tell, on a Tigers baseball podcast am I talking about the Houston Astros? We're not playing them. We finished the season series against them in June. So what's the deal? Why am I talking about the Houston Astros? Talking about the Houston Astros because they were 10 games below 500. They were in 4th place in their division, possibly 3rd. They have tied with the Seattle Mariners for 1st. Detroit has fallen 9 games under 500. They're now back to 2 games under 500, courtesy of an 11-4 stretch over their last 15 games. This comes with wins against the Dodgers, the Guardians, the Twins, the Blue Jays, the Reds. In my opinion, the most important series that they won was the one against the Dodgers. But they took 3 out of 4 against Cleveland before that. They took 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays over the weekend. This is after the All-Star break. And the 2 out of 3 that they took against the Dodgers beat them pretty soundly on Friday, July the 12th. They put it on them pretty good. And then Saturday and Sunday, Detroit came back and won both games. Sunday's win was a bullpen game. So this is a team that's coming back. It's a team that's hitting its stride. It's a team that I told you is going to win this division. Now, I'll like I said before, I'll step back a little bit if September 1st rolls around and they're I think I said 5 games out on September 1st. I'll step back from that a little bit. But this team will make the playoffs this year, even if it's a wild card berth. They're going to make the playoffs. This is a good team, folks. Fans have lost faith. Fans have said, this is the same old sorry Tigers, blah, 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 blah. They hit their stride in late June, and they've been playing really good baseball. Since the Angels series, they've been playing really good baseball. Sorry, since the Twins series, they've been playing really good baseball. Because they lost the series 2 out of 3 to the Twins, and then they came home. Then they went to Cincinnati, and they took 2 out of 3 from Cincy. Actually, they swept Cincinnati. Sorry, they swept Cincinnati. And then they took 3 out of 4 against Cleveland and 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. They're tied 1-1 against Cleveland right now, so they got 2 more games to go in Cleveland. Then they come home for 3 with Minnesota, 2 with Cleveland, 4 with Kansas City. And that's a key stretch. That's a very key stretch to end your July and start your August. But this team they're playing their best baseball right now. I dare say this team is playing better baseball now than they were when they were off to a 5-0 start in April. Late March, early April. Because then the offense wasn't providing a lot of punch. Now the offense, even in a losing effort tonight, they scored 4 runs. They lost 5-4. They're not losing 1-0 very often or 3-0. They're not getting shut out or losing by only scoring a run. So, 1 or 2 runs a game, like they were scoring in that 5-game stretch at the beginning of the season. This team is scoring more runs. They're hitting more homers. They're playing better defense. Their pitching has always been good. This team is starting to find its stride. Once Casey Mize comes back, once Reese Olson comes back, that rotation is going to be solid again. Now they'll have to make a roster move because they can't have 10 guys in the bullpen. They moved Kenta Maeda to the bullpen because he was just not carrying his weight. And he knows it. He's apologized for it. But he's just struggling this year, and that's just the bottom line. Another guy who's struggling is Joey Wentz, and I honestly wish that Detroit would just designate him for assignment. If he clears waivers, great. If he doesn't, let some other team deal with him. But get him off of this team. Get him out of this bullpen. He can't find the strike zone. When he does, it gets hit, and it gets hit hard. He just needs to go. Oh, well, that's the guy that we gave up, we gave up Shane Green for Joey Wentz. Well, guess what? Shane Green isn't pitching anymore. That's the guy we got back in the Shane Green trade. Okay, fine. That's who you got back in the Shane Green trade. It didn't work out. It didn't work out for Atlanta very well either because he only pitched for the rest of the year in Atlanta and then he left. So at what point do you just cut bait with Joey Wentz and say, sorry, if you clear waivers, you got to go to the minors because we can't keep you up here. You're not pitching well up here. You're not doing what needs to be done up here. Right now, they've got 4 lefties in the bullpen, which is unusual for AJ Hinch. They've got Easton Lucas, who they called up from AAA, a guy that they claimed from, I want to say Colorado. They've got Joey Wentz. They've got Tyler Holden, who's pitched today. And they got Andrew Chafin. And then on the right-hand side, they've got Maeda Faedo. Maeda Faedo. Vest, Foley. And I can't remember the other 2 guys. I feel really dumb. I feel really dumb. But anyway, the point is that they've got 10 people in the bullpen right now. But it's going to be kind of thin because they've got 2 bullpen days this week. They had a bullpen day today. They got Flaherty going tomorrow, and then they got a bullpen day on Thursday because Olson got hurt. So the pen's going to be tested. Sadly, Joey Wentz is going to have to come in again because at some point you can't throw Holden and Chafin out there every game. Lucas didn't look very good last night. He just wasn't. He didn't have it. But at some point, you're going to have to call him in, and he's just not doing it. He's just not getting the job done. So there you go. Detroit signed its first-round draft pick. They signed Bryce Raynert to a below-slot value contract. He was a Texas commit. He's not going to Texas anymore. They've signed 7 of their first 8 draft picks. One draft pick that they did not sign is going to Tennessee. He's a high school pitcher that Detroit drafted. Ensign Seaford. And he's a 6'8" righty who throws 97, but he doesn't know where it's going. So you know what? Go to Tennessee, work that stuff out, get that stuff sorted out. We'll draft you again in 2 years, and you'll be a higher pick. And oh, by the way, we'll make you a better pitcher. So I don't see a problem with. Look, kid going to college. I'll never say no to that. I'll never say no to a kid that gets drafted for Major League Baseball, saying, no, I'm going to go to college and play ball in college. And then if you guys draft me again, or if somebody else drafts me again in 2 or 3 years, I'll take my chances. But I'll at least have an education to fall back on should baseball not work out for me. So I ain't mad at the kid for that. And look, Tennessee just won a national title. So guess what? He's going to the defending national champs. He's going to play at a good team, at a winning team. And he's going to learn how to pitch. Tennessee knows how to turn out some pitchers. Ask Chase Dolander. Chase Burns was in Tennessee before he went to Wake Forest. He got drafted this year. Congratulations to Max Clark and congratulations to Kevin McGonigal. They both got moved up to High A West Michigan last night. I would imagine they started today. Not sure how exactly they did, but I'm guessing that they were in the lineup today for the West Michigan Whitecaps. So congratulations to those two on the promotion. Jackson Jobe, by the way, on Saturday threw 6 innings of no-hit ball. He's allowed 1 run over the last 16 innings that he's pitched. I think that's pretty good. You might see him in AAA in a few weeks. I don't see him getting up to the majors this year, but you'll probably see him in AAA later on this summer. Next year, he'll probably start in AAA and make his way up to the big leagues, much as the way Kader Montero did. Or Reese Olson, for that matter, if you want to look at that kind of a career arc. Also, Spencer Torkelson has hit a few homers For those of you who haven't paid that much attention, he's hit a little bit down at Toledo, but he's not doing that well. He's not doing anything really to get himself in the conversation to come back up and be the everyday first baseman for Detroit. Roster moves that are going to have to be made. Bly Madris was called up. Ryan Valade was called up and then sent back down when Bly Madris got called up. He's a first baseman outfielder type. He's a career minor leaguer for a reason, but what are you going to do? But roster moves are going to have to be made. He'll probably get sent back down when Parker Meadows comes back. And Bly Madris will get sent down then. And you'll probably see Justin Henry Malloy get sent down when Kerry Carpenter comes back. But that probably isn't going to be till August, seeing as how we've got 6 days left until the end of the month. So at this point, I don't see the Tigers making any major roster moves unless they absolutely have to. And if Olsen gets put on the 60-day injured list because he has to have surgery, then you'll probably see Brant Herter get called up from Toledo. He's probably the most ready to come up. I don't see Ty Madden coming up anytime soon. He's just not ready yet. Jackson Jobe isn't ready yet. He's still in Double-A. So that might be a roster move that you see made. And depending on what they do at the trade deadline, you may see Gio Urshela get sent out and Jace Young come up from Triple-A because he's been swinging a hot bat. But you never know. There's a couple of names that have been thrown out there. Jack Flaherty, Tarek Skubal, Mark Canha is starting to swing a hot bat again. Gio Urshela just hasn't started to hit. So he probably isn't going to get flipped this year. He'll probably end up spending the rest of the year with the Tigers. Depending on what happens with Torkelson, he may end up getting waived on September 1st and have a chance to catch on with a winner. If Detroit's not winning at that point and they want to give Jace Young a shot, because you can only have your rosters expand in September, but it's only up to 28, no longer 40 like it used to be. When it was 40, you could pretty much count on half of the Toledo Mud Hens showing up in Detroit. But now that it's only 28, it's two guys that get the call. And a couple of years ago, it was Ryan Kreidler and Spencer Torkelson. Sorry, not Ryan Kreidler and Spencer Torkelson. I don't remember who the other guy was, but Ryan Kreidler got the call because they made a big deal out of how Torkelson, Kreidler, and Carpenter. That was it. I do believe it was Kerry Carpenter that came up in September. They made a big deal out of how these guys had played together in the minors, and Green was with them, and they made this core of players, and they were hoping it was going to be like the Yankees core of the 96 through 2000 Yankees teams, and it never panned out to be that way. So I want to thank YouTube for hosting my channel. If you want to subscribe, please do so. I really would appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends to like and subscribe. Let's get some numbers going. That would be good. Go ahead and comment. I do read my emails. You can email the show, tigersbaseballpodcast@gmail.com. It's the world's longest email address. I'm proud of that. You can find me on Mastodon at tbpodcast at tweezcake.social. I'm also on Twitter at Podcast Tigers. Don't check the Twitter very often, but when I do, when something comes through on my Twitter, I get notifications for it. So don't be afraid to send me notifications there. We'll be back next Monday, hopefully talking about a Tigers series win in Cleveland and a Tigers series win against Minnesota. With that, I am going to say so long, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week, and go Tigers.